They always said family was my greatest blessing. But one night they showed me the truth. To them, I wasn't a daughter, a sister, or a person. I was just a wallet. The night they told me to stop pretending I was better than them, something inside me broke. And what happened next, no one in that room could have predicted. My name is Elena Rivers. I'm 32 years old, and I'm the founder of a rising tech startup. 3 years ago, I made a decision that changed everything. I stopped waiting for luck to find me, and I started building my own path. While my parents, Charles and Linda, struggled to keep their bills paid and my brother Aaron jumped from one failed job to the next, I worked silently, coding through nights, investing carefully, and taking risks they never believed I was capable of. I didn't flaunt my success. In fact, I hid it. Because month after month, my money left my accounts and flowed into theirs. Rent, utilities, groceries, Aaron's car note. Even the mortgage they claimed was safe. Over the course of 3 years, I funneled over $100,000 into their comfort while quietly sitting in the background, invisible. And they loved it that way. The Thanksgiving that changed everything. It was Thanksgiving when the truth finally boiled over. I arrived at my parents' house early that morning, arms loaded with groceries, a perfectly thawed turkey, fresh vegetables, bakery bread, and a bottle of rare wine that cost more than my parents' monthly car insurance. "Morning," I said cheerfully, stepping into the kitchen. My mother didn't even glance up from her phone. Just put it on the counter." My father sat in his recliner, eyes fixed on the football game. "Hey, kiddo," he muttered, like my presence was part of the furniture. "Need help with the cooking?" I asked. "I've got it my way," Mom replied, still scrolling, even though the turkey was barely defrosted. So I rolled up my sleeves and did what I always did, picked up the slack. The smells of butter and garlic filled the air, knives tapped against cutting boards, and for a brief second I let myself imagine we were a normal family. By 2 in the afternoon, the door swung open. Aaron strolled in, empty-handed, his phone glued to his palm. "There's my boy," Dad exclaimed, muting the TV and springing to his feet. Mom emerged from wherever she'd been hiding, arms open for her golden child. Aaron barely bothered to hug her. "Sorry I'm late," he mumbled. "Not sorry at all." Dinner began at 4. The table looked beautiful. Candles, polished silverware, steaming plates of food I'd prepared. But sitting there felt like being cast in a play where I had already been written as the villain. Dad carved the turkey I cooked while reminiscing about Aaron's high school football games. Mom peppered him with questions about his latest job interview, the 5th this year, while my recent contract with a Fortune 500 company, one that would triple my income, went completely ignored. Aaron leaned back in his chair, fork midair. "They're probably going to put me on a management track," he bragged, as if he had already been hired. Mom beamed, squeezing his hand. "See? Good things come to those who wait." I sipped my wine and forced a smile. I had bankrolled Aaron's life for 3 years, paid his bills, co-signed his loans, and here he was, the hero of the night, while I was invisible. That was when I finally said it. "I need to scale back the financial support," I told them calmly. The air froze. Dad's fork clinked against the plate. Mom's smile evaporated. Aaron's glare sharpened. "What do you mean?" Dad asked, voice low, dangerous. "I've covered over $12,000 this quarter alone. I need to reinvest into my company, hire developers, expand the office. It's just temporary." His face hardened. "You've changed. Success has made you selfish." "Selfish?" I repeated, shocked. "I'm protecting what I've built. I'm not selfish. I'm practical." Dad slammed his fist against the table. Plates rattled, silverware clattered. His words cut like glass. "What about your family? We raised you, fed you, clothed you. You owe us." Something inside me snapped. "Paying bills doesn't make you family," I said, my voice steady but cold. The room went silent, their faces blurred, rage, avoidance, disappointment, all twisted together. And in that silence, I realized the terrifying truth. Everything I had given meant nothing. I gathered my purse and walked out, leaving them in the chaos they had created. The evidence back at my penthouse, I spread every document across the coffee table. Bank transfers, loan agreements, mortgage records showing I was the true owner of their house. Every penny was accounted for. My best friend Rachel sat beside me, eyes scanning the evidence. "Elena," she whispered, "you haven't been a daughter, you've been their bank." Her words burned, but they were true. My phone buzzed with call after call, texts dripping with guilt and panic. I ignored them all. At midnight, I sent one message. "All financial support is terminated effective immediately. Documentation follows tomorrow. Make alternative arrangements." And I turned my phone off. The next morning, pounding at my door rattled the frame. Dad's face was red, wild. Mom sobbed in the car. Aaron stood smirking, recording everything on his phone. I opened the door calmly. Rachel stood behind me with my home security feed streaming live. "I think you'll want to see this," I said, handing Dad the thick folder. Mortgage documents, bank transfers, signed agreements, over $147,000 laid out in black and white. "You can't do this to family," Dad whispered. "I already have," I replied. "You made it clear I wasn't family, just a checkbook." Sirens wailed in the distance. The police arrived minutes later. My father shouted about betrayal, about my ingratitude. I simply handed over the folder. "This is a civil matter," the officer said, "but right now you're trespassing. Leave." For the first time in years, I felt the weight lift from my shoulders. The aftermath weeks passed. Reality hit them harder than it hit me. Aaron took a warehouse job. My parents downsized to a modest apartment they could actually afford. The house I had bought for them was sold, the proceeds covering the loans I had fronted. And me? My company thrived. I hired developers, expanded offices, and watched my startup transform into something bigger than I had ever imagined. Success tasted sweeter without the chains of guilt or the weight of their entitlement. But more than success, I found clarity. Love that depends on money isn't love. Family that sees you as a wallet isn't family. True loyalty doesn't exploit, and as strange as it sounds, I felt free. 1 year later, a year later, things look different. My father calls occasionally, his tone cautious. My mother sends birthday cards, handwritten for the first time in years. Aaron and I exchange the occasional civil text, nothing more. We're not healed, we're not close, but we are honest, and that honesty is worth more than all the money I ever gave them. Sometimes walking away doesn't mean giving up. Sometimes it means reclaiming yourself. And I did. So if you've ever been treated like your worth is tied to what you can give, remember this. You are more than their expectations. You are more than their entitlement. And you have the power to walk away. This is Elena's story. And if it resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to Tales Between Time for more stories that reveal the truth hiding behind closed doors.